Hi 9th and 10th grade, it's time for literature. So you're going to need to get out your literature book. Looks like this. And you're going to need book 1. And we're going to be on pages 306 to 307 right here. And we're going to deal with 2 poems right now and some terms. So you're going to need your notes and you're going to need your book. So we're going to deal with 2 poems right now. Ellen a Dale by Sir Walter Scott and Futility by Wilfred Owen. And these are going to be in your literature book 1, page 306. And so that's where we are right now. So we're going to talk about the structure. This is under the structure setting, but we're going to talk about poetry because we're getting ready to go into Shakespeare, which is coming up with Romeo and Juliet. So we're just getting ready and learning a few things so that we'll know what we're doing when we get to that. All right, like I said, we're going to deal with 2 types of poems. From now to Wednesday, we're going to deal with Ellen a Dale. And then from Wednesday to Friday, we're going to deal with Futility. But right now, Ellen a Dale. So here's the first term you need to know. Write it down. What's a rhyme? Well, it's on page 306. But a rhyme is 2 or more words that have identical sounds. And it's usually in the last stress of the syllable, like bird and nerd. Notice the B in the end don't rhyme. Not the B and the N, that doesn't rhyme. But the D and the D rhymes. So it's the stressed syllable at the end of the words. That's what makes something rhyme. Bird, nerd. That is a rhyme. 2 identical sounds in the last stress. Don't worry, rewind, check the PowerPoint out on LMS. You could write this down at your own pace. Slant rhyme. And here's a little something different that we haven't learned yet. The slant rhyme is where 2 words are similar, but they're mismatched. Like they both end in the R, but they don't rhyme. Star and door. It's a slant. There's an R there, we hear the R, but there's not really a rhyme. So that's called a slant rhyme, where they might have similar letters and whatnot, but they don't really rhyme. The next term is the I rhyme. An I rhyme are 2 words that are spelled alike, but they're pronounced differently. So that you would think that they would rhyme, but they don't. Look at bough and cough. When the bough breaks, talking about a tree bough. But cough, that's 2 different things. It has nothing to do with each other. They don't even sound alike at all. But they are look-alikes. So that's why it's called I rhyme. It looks like it should rhyme, but it doesn't. So that's how you can remember I rhyme. They look like they should, but they don't. All right, so these are some terms that we're learning in this chapter. And here's another one, end rhyme. This is simple, it's what it says. At the end of the line, there's a rhyme. So it comes at the end of the poetic lines. How do I love thee? My love is as big as the sea. The last word here and the last word here match and rhyme. It's called an end rhyme, where the words end. Not all poems have end rhyme, but when these 2 lines, the last words rhyme, it's called end rhyme. If there's a rhyme at the end. How about an internal rhyme? Internal rhyme is where there's a rhyme in the middle. Just like your internal organs are in the middle of your body or inside your skin, so is the rhyme is inside the line. Notice, once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary. Weary rhymes with this other word, dreary, which is in the same line. And so that's called internal rhyme. We have a line that's got a bunch of rhymes in it. That's internal rhyme. It's inside the line of poetry. Then we have what we call the rhyme scheme, where you take a poem as its whole and figure out what is the rhyme scheme of this poetry. It's the poem's pattern of the end rhymes. And so let's take a look at how to tell what a rhyme scheme is. And I have a sample poem here for you called Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now, this is a nautical term. I don't know if you've ever been on the boats, but they have sandbars. And when you come up to them, they're hard to get across, and they sometimes will damage your boat if there's not enough water. And so Alfred Lord Tennyson is taking the metaphor of a ship and crossing a bar to our life when it ends and dying and going on to heaven. meaning that when our life is done here, we're going to go on there. So let me read this to you while you follow along. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea, but such a tide as moving seem asleep, too full of sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I cross the bar. So this is a poem, and let me show you how you can figure out the rhyme scheme. So here we go. The first line is sunset and an evening star, and it has a letter. Is there any other line here? No, this is the first line of the whole entire poem, so we start with the letter A, because it's the first line. The next line, and one clear call for me. Now, does star and me rhyme? No. So therefore, this line is going to get the next letter in the alphabet, which is what? B. So this is line A, and this is line B. Now we're talking about rhyme scheme. And may there be no moaning of the bar. Does bar rhyme with me? No, it doesn't. But does bar rhyme with star? Yes, it does. So we're going to put an A here for this line because this line rhymes with this line. And so the lines that rhyme together will have the same letter. How about this one? When I put out to sea. Does sea rhyme with bar? No, it doesn't. Does it rhyme with me, a line already in the poem? Yes, it does. And one clear call for me, B and B. So this is why these are B, and this is why these are A. Now this is one stanza. So the rhyme scheme for this stanza would be A, B, A, B. What's that mean? That means the first line and the third line are going to rhyme. And the second and the fourth lines are going to rhyme. Got me? All right. How about the next line? But such a tide as moving seem asleep. Now, we're starting a new stanza. So I put this line here. So we're starting with the next letter of the alphabet. It's not going to rhyme with these. This is going to be another quatrain. 4 lines of poetry. So this is why this is letter C. Too full of sound and foam. Does foam rhyme with asleep? No, it doesn't. So it's going to get its own letter called letter D. When that which drew from out the boundless deep. Does deep rhyme with asleep? Yes, it does. Sleep and deep rhyme. So that's why these are letter C. And the last one in this stanza, turns again home. D, home and foam rhyme. So what would be the rhyme scheme of stanza number 2? Tell me. C, D, C, D. So here you go. Because the first and third lines of this stanza are going to rhyme, and the second and fourth lines are going to rhyme. So the rhyme scheme is C, D, C, D. Guess what? Here's the third stanza. Twilight and evening bell. So it's another stanza, so we're going to start with the next line in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E. So now we're at E. And after that, the dark. Does dark and bell rhyme? No, they don't. So this line gets its own letter. A, B, C, D, E, F. So we're at F. And may there be no sadness of farewell. E and E. Bell and farewell rhyme. So therefore they are E. And when I embark. Embark and dark rhyme. And so here we have the third stanza. What is the rhyme scheme? EF, EF. Meaning the first line of this stanza and the third line are going to rhyme, and the second and the fourth lines are going to rhyme. But they get their own letters because they're in a different stanza. Now for the last stanza, can you guess what letters are going to be? For though from out our bourne of time and place, you've got it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The flood may bear me far. Far and place do not rhyme, so this one gets its own letter. It's H. I hope to see my pilot face to face Does face and place rhyme? Yes, it does, with G. When I have crossed the bar, bar and far, CH. So what is the rhyme scheme for this last set of 4 lines? It's GH, GH. So that is rhyme scheme. Now, let's take a look at our poem and learn about Sir Walter Scott.